A couple of years ago, when squash courts around the world shut down, I needed to find something to do to keep myself busy. In my case, I decided to start playing music again. Although I didn't end up in a puddle of sweat, practicing the piano and squash are more similar than you might think. At the time of making this video, I'm actually working on learning a piece, the one playing in the background now. It's a nice, popular little nocturne by Chopin. Near the end in this interpretation, I need to play a series of 4 notes rather quickly. At first, this is how it went. So clearly, I needed to practice. And if we're talking about practice, that's one thing musicians are very familiar with. But what makes their method of practice so effective when they are learning something particularly new? It's actually pretty simple. There are 3 main steps. First of all, they practice slowly in order to ensure correctness. Second, they practice in short durations. There's diminishing returns the longer you practice the same thing, as your mind has a harder time maintaining the necessary level of focus to continue learning. And finally, they practice it frequently. Frequent practice is necessary to reinforce the physiological changes that need to take place in the brain. This is why practicing something once per week for many hours is far less effective than practicing the same thing multiple times per week in shorter chunks. Following this approach, after 2 or 3 weeks practicing this section slowly for a few minutes once or twice per day, something changed. I was now able to play that section properly and at speed. In other words, with correct, frequent practice, I was able to perform a physical action significantly faster than before. I didn't need to spend months in the gym, I didn't need to hop on the juice. All I had to do was practice often and practice slowly, ensuring I was teaching my hands the correct movement patterns. Now let's talk squash. Take ghosting, for example. You might think that in order to get the most out of your ghosting sessions, you need to do them as fast as you can until you collapse. That couldn't be further from the truth. Ghosting with the correct footwork for short durations more often, you can improve your movement speed during match play simply by reinforcing those motor patterns in your brain. This also has the added benefit that since your sessions are not as intense, there's a reduced chance of injury and they take less time to recover from. Something most 30-year-old and up squash players will appreciate. Now, when you eventually get to the point where moving around the squash court is second nature, at that point, in order to continue progressing, you will need to start focusing more on muscle development, which is a much slower process. In any case, I hope this video has shown that by slowing things down, but practicing more frequently for shorter durations, you can train more effectively and thus reducing your chances of injury. If you are looking to practice your movement specifically, I do have that 6-week movement course on thepursuitofsquash.com if you want to get serious about your movement training. It's still only $3 per month or $0 per month if you can't afford that. Happy training!